This is a Triple J podcast.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Science with Dr. Karl. My name is Lucy Smith, and I want to know if you've got someone in your life who, whenever they open up a bottle of sparkling wine at a party, at a function, they don't finish it off, they pop the teaspoon in the top and they put it back in the fridge. Why do we do this? And does it actually maintain the fizz within the bottle? What is the science behind this, and is it true? We get into that a little bit later on in this week's episode. Plus, why do we laugh? And are antihistamines denying us of sneezes that we actually need? I'm Lucy Smith. Let's get into it. We're about to launch into Science with Dr. Karl. Dr. Karl, how are you feeling?
Ever so peachy keen. I've got a joke for you.
Yeah.
It's really bad. Why do French people have such a small breakfast? Because one egg is une œuf. One egg, œuf is French. It sounds like enough. It's a really bad joke. I know.
You had to explain this one to me
I'm
recently.
sorry. It's a really dumb joke.
Une
Okay.
œuf.
Okay.
I feel like anyone who speaks French will really appreciate that
That's
one.
right.
Though.
And the number of existentialists who think that life is meaningless, how many existentialists does it take to change a light bulb? None, because life is meaningless and dark and we should embrace the darkness. It's not true. We're happy. You've been REing and I've been gigging and we're all happy.
We have been. Wait, so how many existentialists does it take? None, because life is meaningless?
You should embrace the darkness.
You got to embrace the darkness. Okay, I like that.
But I think we should embrace the happiness.
Yes.
I'm very shallow. I like happy rather than sad.
Oh, you know.
That's how shallow I am.
Is that shallow, do you reckon, though? I don't know.
It's kind of easy.
Well, either way, we're answering science questions. We're not getting that. We're getting deep already, but we can get as simple as you want as on 0439 757 555. Maybe there's just a small scientific concept you can't get your head around. Maybe you're having a debate with someone in your life about something scientific. You want to put it to Dr. Karl. Let's kick it off with Rachel on the Gold Coast. Rachel, you got a question about snoring?
Yeah, I would like to know why it is that people who snore don't wake themselves up from the sound of their snoring.
Now, is this something, Rachel, that you're dealing with?
Yeah, I probably shouldn't say on air, but yeah, my husband's a pretty chronic snorer.
Put him on blast, Rachel. No, I'm kidding.
It's not too bad so long as it doesn't happen overall, lots and lots of times, and especially you don't want it to be a part of the thing called sleep apnea. So if you're doing a bit of occasional snoring, that's not too bad. What causes a snoring? Think of a flag fluttering in the breeze. And it sort of goes flappity, flappity, and you hear this sort of slapping noise. And there are parts of your airway that can do that thing while you're asleep. Normally, you won't wake yourself up, but you can wake yourself up momentarily and then fall back to sleep again. And if you fall back to sleep again immediately without interrupting your dream cycle, that's good. Now, just a little side thing here. If you have 6 hours of sleep a night, you're thinking, I'm okay, I've had 3/4 of my sleep on this particular occasion, but you've only had half your dreaming. If it turns out that the snoring, if you notice that your partner is snoring a lot and they're fuzzy in the morning, then it's worthwhile doing something about it, but it's sort of like a grey light. And the sleep apnea, that's where they stop breathing and blow me down, it leads to high blood pressure.
But why don't, even though they're snoring so loud, the noise is just reverberating through their skull, why aren't they waking up from that noise?
They might wake up for a brief instant and immediately think, nothing dangerous here, I'll go back to sleep, and they ignore other people. So occasionally if you've had like a few drinks of alcohol, on one hand you'll find it easier to go to sleep, but then you might anaesthetise yourself during the night and not wake up from your snoring and then suddenly wake up with a really dry mouth. It might have happened to me once or twice in my life.
Hey, can't relate. I can definitely relate. So, Rachel, maybe that gives you some next steps potentially and some background.
Yeah,
and the sleep apnea.
Yeah.
The one to be scared of.
He does have the sleep apnea.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Are you on the CPAP machine?
No, because when he was asleep, he would be able to take the machine off without actually waking himself up. So the sound of the snoring doesn't wake him up, and even removing a machine doesn't wake him up.
Wow.
And is his blood pressure okay?
His blood pressure's fine, yeah, but
All right.
he's on the wait list for the surgery. It's going to get dealt with, but I was just curious as to why, it can be so loud. There can be a banging noise or something in the house that would wake him up, but then this, tractor in his head doesn't wake him up.
Exactly. How is he not hearing this?
It's like not smelling your own bad breath or smelling your own armpit sweat.
Yeah,
You're
true.
used to it.
You're
It's
used
good
to
for
it.
you.
It's familiarity. Rachel, good luck with it.
Thank you.
We've
Thanks,
got Danielle
guys.
in Tamworth here. Now, Danielle, this is a pretty awkward sensation. What's going on?
Hey, Dr. Karl. I was just wondering, why do our tummies grumble and why can I hear it?
It is normal. So your gut is a hollow tube and it has liquid in it and it has gas. And sometimes it can have a lot of gas or not a lot of gas. When you do an X-ray of a human gut and you tune the X-ray to be able to see the gut rather than the bones, you can see these liquid levels and stuff gets pushed along. Imagine you've got a tube, roughly, say, the diameter of a skinny wrist, and it's full of porridge, and you sort of push it along and you push it back by squeezing it on the outside, and then you will get bits where there's no porridge and then the liquid can build up. So when the liquid jumps from one level to the other, you can hear this sort of grumbling noise. If you put your ear against a human tummy, you should be able to hear it maybe once every 20 or 30 seconds. And in fact, complete absence of this sound is a sign of a bowel obstruction. It should not normally be loud enough to hear from the outside, and so that could be a sign that you're not eating regularly enough or too much. You're trying to push too much food through, or you're having foods that generate gas. So is it bothering you at all? Can other people hear your tummy, or are you hearing other people's tummy?
I guess so. Maybe just when I'm really hungry.
In that case,
This is what we discussed. I discussed with my husband. We think that it might be the gases. That's what's happening.
The other thing is that you get a lot of gas from eating apple because you swallow the gas.
Mm-hmm.
So apple is classic for getting swallowed air into your gut, and then that can either go one way or the other. If you're lucky, it'll come out as a burp. If not, you're going to get those extra noises.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Danielle. We've got Rowan in Eora, Sydney. Now, Rowan, I feel like you may be considering me with this question. Talk to us.
Good morning. Quite possibly. There's a lot of people. Obviously, we had the ARIAs last night, but I was wondering if there was any truth to the hair of the dog myth in relation to hangovers or any remedies.
There's one specific case, and it can lead to a bad outcome. And there's many causes of hangovers, and we don't have a good hangover cure yet. Basically, don't get drunk. So preventive. Now, in some cases, the hangover can be due to methanol. Now, there are many alcohols, and the one that the Bible tells you to take a little bit of for the good of your tummy is called the ethanol. We've been making it for at least 5,000 years in many cultures, in practically all cultures around the world. Pure ethanol is a bit of a toxin, but we've evolved a way to get rid of it. Methanol, the stuff that used to be in methylated spirits, that's the one that's really, really poisonous and can make you go blind. And there have been cases of people accidentally drinking lots of methanol. It's not in methylated spirits anymore, I don't think. So when you have an alcohol that naturally has a small amount of methanol, you'll hardly notice it. But if you're having a lot of alcohol, you will have a lot of the methanol. And then as your body will firstly start processing the ethanol so it doesn't turn the methanol into something bad. As you're coming down off the drunkenness, as you're coming out of the hangover, as you're going into the hangover rather, your body will start processing the methanol and make you feel really bad. And then if you have some pure alcohol like vodka, your body will switch over from processing the methanol. The hangover symptoms will go away, and suddenly you feel not a bit of a hangover, but you're actually feeling a little bit happy from being a little bit drunk. So you've now trained yourself to realise, and this is real, that having a little bit of the hair of the dog when you have a drink that's high in methanol can actually make it go away. And the trouble is that takes you down the pathway of drinking more and more, which is a bad thing.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay.
But so it just prolongs your body's digestion of the methanol.
Yeah. Well, what can happen is that the methanol in lower quantities will be taken out by the kidneys. So if you keep yourself drunk on, this is not a recommendation to keep yourself drunk, but if you keep yourself drunk on, say, pure vodka, then the methanol will, after a few days, be taken out by the kidneys, and you won't have that particular hangover, but you will have a hangover from the ethanol. And then just recently I found about something called the Mellenby effect, where you feel drunker on the way up than on the way down. So you drink the alcohol, it goes into your gut and then it goes into your bloodstream, and then your liver tries to destroy it, but it gradually goes up 0.03, 0.04, 0.05, and imagine it goes up to, say, 0.06, which is above the legal limit, and then it goes up and then comes down again to 0.06. So it goes up to 0.07 and then down again to 0.06. At 0.06 on the way up, you feel drunker than you do at 0.06 on the way down. This is called the Mellenby effect. But the other side of it is that you feel more sober on the way down. So you're at 0.06, you're still above the legal limit, and your driving is worse. Your driving is worse on the way down than on the way up, but you feel more sober. And that's, a recipe for going out and having a car collision and doing bad things. And the way it was found out was that Dr. Edward Mellenby, during the First World War, decided to test this on dogs. And he got them so drunk that on the way up, in some cases they couldn't walk, but at the same blood alcohol level on the way down, they'd be able to walk.
Goodness gracious. So basically just don't get drunk.
Oh, it's hard. Like, on one hand, alcohol, there is no safe dose of alcohol. And secondly, with regard to women, 1 glass a day will slightly increase the risk of breast cancer, 2 glasses significantly, and on average, 1 in 8 women will get breast cancer, 1 in 40 will die of it. But with the AI, we're getting ways of finding it earlier, like up to 5 years earlier. But then going back to the don't drink alcohol, it's a good social lubricant. Like 1 glass can relieve your shyness, and then you can come up to somebody you really like, you've been too shy to say anything to them, and you say, hello, and then you run away, and that's a real improvement. And so there's a social side as well as the toxin side. It's tricky, isn't it?
It is, yes, the cultural aspect.
I reckon 1 glass every now and then is okay, knowing in mind that it is a toxin and it's bad for your health, but the social benefits are another thing. And there are societies that don't have alcohol at all.
That's right. Thank you, Dr. Karl.
Thanks, Rowan. And we've got Karl in Croydon Hills. Dr. Karl, let's talk about antihistamines. What's your question?
Good morning, doctors. Yes, a chronic hay fever sufferer. On the antihistamines pretty much every day. What I would like to know, am I doing myself a disservice by taking them and then restricting my body from the sneezing and expelling what I would be taking in and not getting rid of by taking the antihistamines?
If you're sneezing a lot, it's good to get rid of them, but it can be of the stuff that's in your airways. But if it's the seasonal thing, those things are not already that bad for you. And if you can get rid of them without sneezing, like you'll do the thing several times a day where the cilia in your airways will bring the bad stuff up that you don't want in your lungs. And then several times a day without even thinking about it, you do this sort of noise and you swallow it and it goes up your airway and into your gut and then comes out of your back end a day or so later. So in general, the antihistamines are not inherently dangerous. All drugs are poisons. What matters is the dose. But in most cases, you're okay with taking the antihistamines. And while sneezing is good, too much sneezing can be bad, and you can end up driving stuff into your sinuses. So if you feel, you've got 2 eyes, if you feel the bone immediately under each eye, that's all hollow. It's all hollow, and you can drive bad guys in there by sneezing too much. So it's a tricky thing, but I tend to go with taking the antihistamines. But check it out with your doctor, because I can't give good medical advice because I don't know all that stuff. So check it out with your local GP. I love GPs. They should be paid twice as much.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's all right. I'm probably better off taking it then, because without it, I'm sneezing like a heap real bad.
Yeah, and if you're sneezing while you're driving, temporarily you can't see, and that could be a very dangerous thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, my God, I just realised your name's Karl.
With a K as well.
Dr. Karl and Dr. Karl.
Oh, my God.
An honorary second Dr. Karl. Thanks for your question.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Sarah in Wagga Wagga, what do you want to know?
Hi, Dr. Karl. I was wondering, is it possible to train your brain to have a photographic memory?
Yes, indeedy. uses your role model, my hero, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And if you watch some of his latest videos, you'll see that when he was a youth, he would spend 10 hours a day pumping iron. And he'd had a whole wall, and he'd just write the exercise down and just go and do it over and over and over again. And I've mentioned this story before. I had a friend who had a terrible memory. They worked for an IT. They were an IT person for some big legal firm. They then trained their memory, and there are many different ways to do this. Check it out on our good friend YouTube. If some psychologists could ring in or text in on a magic number 0439 757 555. Yep. Just give us the name of a book or something that would help. And so he got to the stage where we had him on our Sleek Geeks TV show with Adam Spencer and I and me, and every person who came in the audience, about 100 of them, went through a whole list of things that they liked or did or have. And at the end, halfway through the show, we said, okay, insert name of person, Josh, whatever your name is. Josh, who has a red car, plays tennis, and has one child? And he'd say, oh, that's Amelia, Michael, and he could do all that in his head.
Wow.
Right? And he trained for it. So you can train for it. And just think of Arnold Schwarzenegger, read his book, Total Recall, or for fun, watch the video, Pumping Iron. And you definitely can do it. You just train for it.
Okay.
So like with tennis, you might not be able to play tennis at all. And if you do training, you probably won't get to Wimbledon, but you'll be so much better than you are. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, 10 hours a day. Read the book Total Recall. Oh, my God, he's so good. I love him. He's my role model.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Karl.
Ali in Croydon, what do you want to know?
Hi, guys. I was wondering, now that the chickenpox vaccine is commonplace for children, does that then also eliminate their risk of getting shingles later in life?
It doesn't eliminate it, but it reduces it enormously, and you don't want to get shingles. Firstly, chickenpox is not a harmless childhood disease. I saw cases when I was a doctor in the kids' hospital that just make you weep. And secondly, it's the herpes virus. It then goes and hides in your spine or brain. And if it hides in your lower spine, anywhere between your buttocks up to your neck, you'll have half of your body, maybe twice, both sides, but normally half have a stripe where it's coming out as a rash, and it's really, really painful. My brother-in-law had it in his brain. He nearly died. He was in intensive care, and when you're in intensive care and they treat you like a bag of liquid and they pump stuff into you and they keep you alive just barely, we're not doing as good a job as your body does, which means that each day that they're treating you like a bag of liquid, that takes you a month to recover. He recovered, but with one minor change to his brain. He's a chippy, and before, he could add up a whole bunch of numbers and say, oh, it's this length, or the cost of the job is that, and now he has to use a calculator. But apart from that, he's alive. So with regard to so get vaccinated. And so it vastly reduces, getting the vaccine vastly reduces your chance of getting shingles, but it's not 100%. But separately, you can get a shingles vaccine when you're older. And if you're over 45, 50, talk to your GP about it. I went for it because I just love vaccines. I'm going for anything they got. I'm fairly shallow.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure with like kids now whether in the future it will, make the shingles vaccine redundant, which would be lovely, but I wasn't sure.
Well, Canada had a 26-year period when their number of cases of measles was 0. And just this year, thanks to coming out that thing in Texas, it's now jumped to a couple of thousand. And the trouble with measles is that when you get it, it destroys your immune memory. So you might have had a polio vaccine and shingles in the past and chickenpox in the past. Getting measles destroys that immunity. So it's like you never had them. You don't have that protection anymore. Okay, so does that help? So
yeah, excellent. Yep.
Thanks, Ali.
Thanks,
We've
Dr.
got
Karl.
Jim on Ngunnawal Country. Dr. Jim.
Dr. Jim.
What's going on with you and your friends' clothes? You've got a question about smell.
Yes. I'm incredibly curious. Whenever my friends and I are hanging out, we have like a bit of a competition to see who's better at something. And for some reason, my friends' clothes smell better than my own clothes, even though we use the same detergent, same washing liquid, same type of machine. And I'm just curious as to if there's a science behind it or just something.
Okay, do you use not just the same type of machine, but the same machine?
We do not use the exact same machine, no.
Okay, right. So firstly, there's differences in the water temperature and the quality of the water, which in Australia is pretty good. Then, how much of the conditioner, detergents, etc., gets squirted through can vary. Even though it's the same machine, it can vary. Nothing's perfect. And then the drying method, do you both dry it the same way, on the line, or do you use a dryer?
I like to use the line. They'll use the line, but they'll also use the dryer in case like they're in a rush or something.
Oh, you're messing with mine, Jim, because normally when you use the dryer, it smells better. And you're saying that it doesn't smell... Sorry, when you use the sunlight on the line, when you use the line and the ultraviolet from the sun lands on it, it smells better, but you're saying that yours smells worse.
Yes.
Oh, my God, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Could it just be your own perception, Jim? You know, that you just, I don't know, empathy or something where you think the best of your friend. You know?
Possibly, yes.
We've done experiments with T-shirts where people get attracted to the smell of other people's T-shirts, and you might really like the smell of his T-shirt, which is his own sweat, and you don't know it consciously, only subconsciously. There's a whole lot of things going on where we don't have knowledge or control of our own lives, and that's one of them, the sense of smell.
I see.
I'm sorry. Try putting both your clothes through the same machine and have the same drying process, and then report back to us, and you could be in line for a Triple J Fun Pack.
Yeah, do the same load of washing together.
A couple of times.
Right.
And write it down. Remember, the difference between science and screwing around is writing it down.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. You got homework, mate.
Yeah, keep us updated. I want to hear more about this. We've got Bella in Mordialloc. Bella, what's your question?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Indeed, you're live to air, Dr. Bell. We love you.
Oh, my goodness. Awesome. Hi, doctors. So I was listening to the breakfast show this morning, and Chet and Luca and Jack James were talking about humour. And Jack James said that it was funnier for him to hear a fart than a stand-up comic.
What?
And it got me thinking, like, why do humans experience humour? Why do we laugh? What's the biological basis for it?
One is social bonding. So you and I are both part of the same group. And another one is just having fun and play. And another one is relieving stress. So you might have a situation where they're under a lot of stress and it's not particularly funny, but they'll just laugh because it takes their mind off what's going bad. And the other thing is, what is humour? And there's a whole bunch of different types of humour. Like, so I did a comedy course for 3 days for $500, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Will Anderson was one of the teachers. And it's really good. So you'll notice that many comedians use the word duck, because when you say the word duck, your lips go wide, and that's like you're smiling. The K sound makes you smile, and then they'll try and you're doing the automatic mirroring. So if somebody's laughing, you will try to mirror them, and so that's one part of why we laugh. And another one is the whole incongruity, like there's a fish riding a bicycle down the street and you think, already that's just a little bit weird. And the other one is when you're laughing at somebody and there's a mixture of laughing at them and laughing with them. I don't like laughing at people and picking on them. But there's always a tiny element of that. The Germans have a word for it, Schadenfreude, which is joy at somebody else's misfortune.
Rude.
Yeah, you know, somebody trips on the ground and you laugh, you know, that sort of thing. And other animals also do express it. So there's a whole bunch of reasons for it.
I think it's also...
So do we think it's nature or nurture then? Like, is it something that we've learned from copying other people, or is it something that we just have inbuilt as a human?
Both, and you can train for it. So definitely, I do these courses at the universities, various places, you want me to do and call me, on how to do a science presentation. And part of it is where you bring in the humour. And I always tell them, do that 3-day course in comedy. So there's a thing called the callback, where the comedian will make a funny joke at the beginning, and then part of that joke involved a glass. And then further down the line, they'll say a glass, and the audience will laugh because they're remembering what happened earlier. So it's a really complicated thing. So do the comedy course.
So it's to do...
Okay, don't do the comedy
Bella,
course.
are you wanting to become a comedian? Is that what Dr. Karl's asking?
Oh, no, I don't think I'm funny enough, but I love humour. I love to love it. I love to laugh at people, but I don't think I can make the jokes myself. So I was just wondering, like, where's it come from?
I also think, is there something to do with that function of laughing where it's unexpected?
Oh, yeah.
You know, particularly when, like even using the callback example, it's unexpected and it gets you. And to use your example, Bella, from this morning, Jack James finding farts funnier than stand-up comedians.
Yeah.
And I think it's because with a fart, you don't know what it's going to sound like, when it's going to come, so it catches you off guard a little bit.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe when you're watching a stand-up comic, you know the jokes are going to come.
Yeah. And the learned thing is also when you go to a comedy show, you're ready to laugh, you're primed. And then the other thing is that it depends on the size of the group. And so we discovered back in the 1990s, if you do a graph of the size of a natural group and in primates, two-legged animals, and their forebrain is pretty well a straight line. And if you've got a very small brain, you and the other primate will sit around and you'll pick lice off each other and eat them. And then as you gradually get to a bigger group, your forebrain gets bigger and there might be 5 of you and you might grunt until finally you get to humans, you got language. And it turns out 100 or so, 100, 150 is a natural number for a human group. The number of people in your phone circle. If you're a religion that controls people by social pressure alone, when they get to about 100, 150, they'll split into 2 because they can't do it. If you happen to be running a company, Bella Incorporated, Megaplex, Giant Octopus, and when you get to 100 or so, you have to have the HR people. Oh, by the way, I've decided how to deal with HR. Any communications, HR is getting out of control.
Be careful here, Karl, because I'm in HR.
Okay, well, here's my advice to you. If you're going to talk to me about HR in the future, Bella, the only way I'll accept communications from you is via interpretive dance.
You mentioned this the other week.
Mate, I had to do a course in slavery. What do I know about slavery?
I know.
Yeah, okay, so, right. Anyway, and so if you've got a small group of people, you can't fire them. They won't sort of laugh automatically. And so when you're doing a presentation, if there's a small group, you actually walk into the group and out. But if you've got a bigger group, like the biggest group I ever did was like 4,000 or 5,000 at the Apollo Theatre in London, and you can start the joke going and it ripples across the room and you just have to wait because it's got its own massive inertia. There's many elements to humour.
I love it. Dr. Karl, you've taken us on many different paths there. Bella, thank you for your question.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
You just did the comedy course with us, I feel, on the radio right now.
There's another 2 3/4 to go for and you'll learn a lot from it.
Lee in Victoria, you got a question about dogs.
Yeah, g'day, Dr. Karl and Dr. Lucy. We've always had dogs in the family, and just wondered if when they wag their tail, are they wagging it consciously or unconsciously?
They are wagging it consciously and unconsciously both, and there's a mixture of I love you and I'm going to attack you. And the old truism that it is safe to pat a dog when it is wagging its tail is totally wrong. And I will now give it to you through a little poem. If a dog wags its tail more to the dog's right, it's all right to pat it. So if the dog wags more to the left, it's best left alone.
Yep.
So what you do is you look down the spine of the dog and you see, is there more on the dog's right or the left? And so if there's more wagging, if there's more angular displacement to the dog's left, even though you've been taught, wagging is safe, it's not. It can bite you. It will bite you. Well, it won't necessarily will bite you. And it's an expression of a whole bunch of things like they're just so excited that they'll do it whether they're happy or sad. They're just sort of jittering all over. But we actually managed to extract that information about 10 years ago, and we still don't teach it in schools. Oh, my God. We have got to write a stern letter to the Murdoch press to let them know that our schools need to do better.
All right, no worries. Thanks very much, Karl.
Thanks, Lee. We got Emma in Melbourne. Emma, you've got a question about what happens when we die.
Yeah, so I was just wondering if our energy, continues on and, turns into a new life form afterwards, or if it just disappears, basically, when we die with us.
When you die, we have found recently that you give off a brief flurry of light. And that's from your cells going down a winding pathway. It might, if you want to interpret it that way, be that your soul is transfiguring into a new untouchable dimension that we don't know about, but we don't have any proof of that. It has been claimed that when you die, your body loses 28 grams, or what is it, 21 grams, the weight of a stack of coins. There was a movie about that. That's a total lie. It was based on experiment done by Dr. Duncan McDowell in 1907, where he got 6 people, and according to the reports, they all lost weight when they died. When you actually go and read the original paper, which you can get online, he did test 6 people, and he chose people who were dying of a wasting disease, so that as they died, instead of thrashing around, they'd go, "I leave thee, farewell, see thee on the other side." So, and he had them on these big scales so he would weigh them. And one person, when they died, suddenly the scales went clunk and they lost 21 grams. The second person lost 21 grams, or lost some weight, and then lost some more. Does that mean they died twice? The third and fourth person actually gained some weight when they died, and the fifth and sixth were not usable because there were technical difficulties. So he tried it 6 times. One time he got the result that he wanted. He ignored the other results, and then that went into the New York Times, a journal of record, that reported as soul has weight, according to doctor, witnessed by other doctors, and then it spread into the media that the soul has weight. It's not true. So, but do you go into another dimension? You might, but we haven't got any proof. Is it the Buddhists or the Hindus that believe that? I think it's the Buddhists. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I believe, reincarnation and stuff, yeah.
At this stage, we don't know. But on the other hand, there were 12 dimensions when the universe started up with a Big Bang, according to one interpretation of the theory. And we can only see 3 or 4 of those dimensions, 3 space and 1 time. It might be they've gone there, but we have no proof. At this stage, we have no proof one way or the other.
Okay, interesting.
Sorry.
That's all right. I wasn't expecting a definitive answer. I know that no one can answer that's not died, and anyone that's died can't answer that. So
yeah, and we don't have anybody come back from the other side saying, "Oh, look, by the way, I left $400,000 in a tin can in the backyard. Walk 3 meters and dig down, you'll find it."
Thanks, Emma. If only. If only.
Yeah.
We've got Jazz on the Northern Rivers. Jazz, what's your
Hello.
question?
Hi, doctors. Temporary Dr. Jazz here. I'm just wondering what exactly is happening when we kink our neck muscles, and why don't we kink other muscles in our body like that?
I don't really know because I'm not an orthopedic surgeon, nor have I done the physio in muscle work, but I'm guessing that this is a special area of your body. On the top of your neck, you've got your head, and it swivels around in all directions. And your neck isn't just a thing that swivels left and right and up and down. It's amazingly flexible, and so it does all sorts of fancy activities, but also it can be a place of referral from, say, you're feeling stress from your job, and then you put that into your body and you sort of hold your body stiffly, and then that goes into your neck. Or, like most people today, there was a brief period when we were using keyboards badly, and then another brief period when we used them properly, and now we've gone back to a long period of using them badly. So most people do not have a wrist rest, like a pad under their wrist, so that their arm is totally floppy and their hand's just sort of floating there. But instead, they're holding their hand exactly on the keyboard with their whole arm muscles. And if you feel their shoulder, it's really tight. And if you let them rest their wrist on a wrist rest, like a bit of rubber or something, cloth covered, then their shoulder goes floppy, and then they can get carried through into the neck.
I suppose we all have phone neck these days because we're all looking down at our phones. But Jazz,
and we're looking at our phones, as Dr. Lucy said.
Yes, as I said. But Jazz, this literally happened to Abby yesterday backstage at the Ari's red carpet. She just turned her head in a bit of a funny way and she said, "Oh my God, I just kind of kinked my neck a bit there." So it is an interesting feeling and then it only really hurts if you kind of nudge that area again.
Yeah. So one of the most complicated bits of anatomy in the human body is the head and neck. And it takes about 2 months to understand it fully, and even then you don't understand it fully as compared to the arm or the gut or whatever. There's so many muscles and structures in there. It's a mess.
Thanks, Dr. Jazz.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Jazz.
you. Just one quick question. Is there any way to recover from it quicker than just waiting it out?
We need a physio to ring on 0439 757 555.
Yeah, text in. If you get a little kink in your neck and it's not hurting you
Yeah.
constantly, but just occasionally,
Yeah.
what would be the cure for that? Jenna in Hawkesbury,
Dr. Jenna.
what's your question? You got a question about plants?
Yeah, hi doctors. I was wondering, why does rainwater make my plants so much happier than tap water? Is it because tap water has chlorine and minerals in it, or is there more to it?
There is an article in The Conversation which I was initially sceptical about. The Conversation, it's a nice website. It's got all sorts of stuff. And what they're saying is that overwhelmingly the rainwater is generated in conjunction with a little bit of lightning here and there, which you probably don't notice because the majority of lightning happens inside the cloud. 90% of all the lightning is in the cloud. Only about 10% makes it down to the ground. And this lightning, they say, and they've got references, causes the nitrogen in the air to be available. Plants want nitrogen, but they can't get at it because it's inert. And so certain plants have evolved bacteria that then can suck the nitrogen out of the air. They're called the legumes. And so when you've got lightning, the nitrogen combines with oxygen to make chemicals where it is now bioavailable. So their overwhelming reason in this article in The Conversation is that the lightning makes the nitrogen combine with oxygen into various other chemicals, falls down in the rain, acts as a fertilizer. That's their reason. Whether the chlorine is bad or neutral, that I don't know. They might have covered that, but I've forgotten. Don't know.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jenna.
Didn't know. I should look it up. That's homework for me.
That's all right.
Do I get a Triple
0439.
J fun pack if I get to do the homework properly? Okay.
You just get to come in and do your job.
Oh, I love that so much. That's good enough.
Let's go. Oscar in Yarrawonga, Victoria. What's your question? This is a bit of an age-old myth, isn't it?
Yes. Hi. I've noticed that when people open a bottle of champagne and they don't want to drink it all at once, they sometimes put a teaspoon in the top of the bottle and put it in the fridge. Apparently, this stops the fizz from leaving the liquid. I was just wondering, is this true? And if so, what's the science behind it?
It is not true, according to Professor Gerard Leger-Belair, who in December 1999 solved the problem and wrote about it in the Scientific American December issue of what causes the bubbles and how do they get through the forbidden zone. And he discussed the spoon in the bottle and he said, no, that is not the case. What happens is the following. For various other reasons, champagne is more viscous than beer. So if you think about beer and you think about honey, if you've got bubbles in the beer, straight to the surface. Honey, they'll take forever. Champagne is somewhere on that spectrum, so the bubbles will go flat, but it takes longer. And so it's nothing to do with that. And then I went and visited him in France. Where he's the chief chemist for Moet and Chandon, and we got to go in the 20 kilometres of underground tunnels where they've got millions of bottles of champagne ranging in all sorts of sizes and had free taste. So it's definitely not true, according to the chemists who spend their whole life. And when he wants some champagne, he orders it in by the palletful.
Where did this come from? Why did people start doing this?
Because maybe a drunk person put a spoon in the top and next day there was still some bubbles because it was more viscous. And they said, therefore, one caused the other. I don't know. That's my guess.
Interesting. Okay. Well, Oscar, I'm still going to do it because to me it also, it's
fun.
almost like claiming that that's been opened, that's mine, that's still
And
being
you should
drunk.
drink some more the next day.
I've never done it because I've never left a bottle of champagne with any left in it. I usually finish it off.
Oscar's polished that one off. He said, cheers, everyone. Oscar, thanks for your question. And we got Michelle in Bass Coast to finish us off. Michelle, what do you want to know?
Oh, yes. Hello, doctors. How are we today?
Peachy keen.
Good. Now, I was driving into the city the other night and I noticed a lot of bats flying over the freeway. Then driving back the next morning, they were all in their trees asleep. How do they know when it's nighttime and daytime?
So most bats are nocturnal. They hang around at night. A few of them hang around at sunset, and they've got eyes, and also they've got cues because they have evolved to eating the insects that come out at certain times. So they've got eyes and they've got the biorhythms. Our human biorhythms, we're daytime creatures. Them, they're nighttime creatures and sometimes a bit of dusk, and so they're following their cues plus the eyes. And if they then wake up in the middle of the daytime and there's no food, what a wasted opportunity, and they need some sleep. So they've evolved over time. This is when they're going out, and there's just going to be so many insects out there. And I've stood in a tunnel up in Cairns where the bats come out, and it's amazing. Thousands of them go past you, and only every now and then does the merest hint of a wing just kiss your cheek, and they just miss you. They're beautiful. So they know by their eyes and their innate circadian rhythms.
Amazing.
Great. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks
Thank
for
you, Dr.
finishing us
Michelle.
off there.
Thank you.
Oh, Dr. Karl, I'll catch you again next week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
Peachy keen.
If
We
we
shall
wanna-
rock.
And that's it. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Science with Dr. Karl. And I don't want to freak you out, but there's only a few episodes left between now and the end of the year. So if you want to ask a question to Dr. Karl before 2025 is out, you've got to be listening 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Time. 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time Thursdays is when we start taking questions on 0439 757 555 and be listening live at 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time to ask your question. Otherwise, you can keep hanging out here. On the podcast, wherever you get them, plus on Triple J's YouTube channel and the Triple J app. I'm Lucy Smith. This episode was produced by Josh Brennan, and we'll catch you next week. Bye.
Dave Marchese here from the Triple J Hack team. Hey, if you love Dr. Karl's podcast like I do, you might enjoy the Hack podcast as well. Each day we bring you the news that matters to you, from the latest science on climate change to what's happening in politics and news around the world. The Hack podcast. It's your daily fix of the news you need to know. Get it wherever you're listening now.